Today's podcast is sponsored by Bodibro. Bodibro are a sportswear company based in County Wexford. Be sure to check out their website and social media accounts, and I will leave the links to them in the video description. So Sean, thanks very much for coming on. How have you been keeping the last 2 or 3 months without sport? We seem to be getting it back anyways soon enough.
Yeah, it's been tough, obviously, but it's kind of exciting now. We're getting back to a little bit of normality, and like with the prospect of actually playing games this year that like some of us didn't even think were possible. It's kind of something to look forward to.
Yeah, had you even just given up halfway through that sort of maybe mid-April?
Yeah, it would have been it would have been nice to know when the end goal
Yeah.
was, like, so we could actually plan it. But like we were training up until like say 5 or 6 weeks ago, flat out, as if
Yeah.
we were back in 2 weeks. But then they gave us a break for 3 or 4 weeks, and they were like, "Look, get yourself, take a break, get the mind
Yeah.
right." And
Yeah.
we met 3 or 4 weeks ago again, and we just said, "Look, the John Horan said there's a possibility we might be back, so let's just go for it. And if we're not, we're not."
Yeah, I mean they're bringing back the club first, and then the inter-county in October, hopefully. Do you like that you get a bit of time with the club just before the inter-county championship starts?
Yeah, it's different to other years where it's kind of you're lent to the county instead of, or you're lent to the club instead of the county. Well, this time you get to like focus on the club itself rather than the inter-county in the back of your mind. It's just club for however long, 11 weeks I think, and then inter-county then, which I'm the club captain, so I kind of want to play with
Yeah.
the people I grew up with and kind of want to represent my club as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you mind that it's in October, November, the sort of them winter months that the pitches aren't even that great? So maybe the county pitches mightn't be too bad, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the defensive football might take shape in
Yeah.
October, November, but I think like at this stage, anyone, like, we
Mm.
don't really care whether it's snowing or raining. Like, as long as we're playing with Cork or with Douglas, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'd say the attractive summer football won't be there this year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll move on to a bit about Cork now. Was it 2016 you made your debut for the seniors?
It was 2016 against, I think it was Tipperary up in Thurles, where we lost to them for the first time in like 50 years. So it
Yeah.
was a rude awakening, but it was still a massive moment for me personally, because like since I was 5 or 6, all I wanted to do was represent Cork, and I did it like during my leaving cert, which was even more special.
Yeah, I think you got to the under 21 All Ireland final was it that year as well?
Yeah, we lost to Mayo up in Ennis,
Mm.
5-17 to 112, I think. So yeah, that was a great year for us, and for me personally, and it kind of gives you confidence that you can play at
Yeah.
that level, and like once I got to step up to Cork inter-county, I kind of just took it with both hands and was like, I've nothing to lose here.
Yeah, would the players even from that team nearly feel a bit of pressure going to the senior team that there's nearly a lot expected of them? I know from underage teams from other counties down the years that if you get to an All Ireland final or win it, you're expected nearly to make an immediate impact.
Yeah, and like I think it was the fact, like, when first session I went in there, you've the likes of like Paul Kerrigan, Donnacha O'Connor,
Mm.
Alan O'Connor, Colin O'Neill, like legends of Cork GA, and you're like, Jesus, should I be here at all? Like, but then that kind of goes out of your mind when you're playing with them. They're there helping you, kind of giving you tips, and I remember my first session I went in and someone gave me a dirty elbow, and Donnacha O'Connor came over and he was like, "Don't take that again," and
Yeah.
like it's just like things like that. Kind of give you confidence that they believe you should be here. So why don't you believe it yourself?
Yeah, is there an element of pressure playing for a big county like Cork? Obviously, another one the All Ireland in 2010, but recently they haven't been probably getting to semi-finals and finals. Is that pressure still there that was before?
Yeah, like the Cork. To be fair, the Cork public are very demanding, and there's a lot of like history surrounding Cork football, and winning All Irelands, winning Munsters, and like with us, Division 3 is not where Cork football
Mm.
should be or where it wants to be. And I think like we've kind of got the ball rolling again towards maybe getting out of that rut, and hopefully now once we get back to the league or back to championship, we'll rectify that and get out of Division 3 and hopefully push
Yeah.
for a Munster title this year in All Ireland.
Yeah, well, 2017 was sort of like a big year for you. Obviously, you lost to Kerry in Munster. Firstly, going into Munster, is it just to beat Kerry every year? That would be your aim nearly nowadays? That to win a Munster title would be a good year.
The aim is to like you'd always have Kerry in the back of your mind, no matter
Mm.
whether you're playing like whether the first round or Munster final. Like Kerry are the team to beat in Munster, and like with my debut down in Killarney, like my Munster debut down in Killarney, it was just like there's kind of a I want to hatred's a strong word, but there's always
Yeah.
like the Cork rivalry. There's a bit of a hatred there, and like I remember just playing that match, and you could just sense there's a bit of tension between the teams, and I thought it was like when people talk about the Cork and Kerry rivalry, you don't really know what it is until you experience it, and when I experienced it, it was just in class.
Because yeah, as you said there, that rivalry is still there, obviously, because I mean, Kerry probably have dominated the last 7, 8 years. Is it demoralising in some ways that they've just sort of swept past teams in Munster recently?
Yeah, it was. It is demoralising when you're losing 7, 8 by 7 or 8 points, even 12 points. But like last year, now we kind of took it
Yeah.
to them, and like we were just missing that extra, say, couple 10 minutes at the end where they took over. And I think like as a team, we've grown this year, and we could give them a right rattle this year again.
Yeah, and then you play Mayo in the qualifiers in Limerick. Like, what was that game like? Because it was watching on the telly. Was it a Saturday evening or something? It was a brilliant game, and you had a great game as well.
Yeah, that was probably my best game. That was the last time I started the intercounty championship match. So I remember it well. And it was a game where like we just came off the back of getting hammered by Kerry, and it was a game where we just like, look, we've nothing to lose here,
Yeah,
and like Mayo were out the week before. I think it was against Derry, so they were kind of tired legs.
yeah.
And I remember Patter Healy was just like, look, we've nothing to lose here, just have a crack. And I think most of us did, and we just came up short.
Yeah, do you think that even suits, I mean, even down the years at Cork when they're not expected to put in a performance that you always nearly seem to do?
Yeah, there's always like I'd agree with that. There's like when we're in the recent years when there's like we're expected to win, we kind of play
Yeah,
poorly,
yeah.
and when there's nothing like people expect us to get hammered, we always play well. Like Dublin last year in the Super 8s, we were with them for 65 minutes, and then they took over. So I think it's like more of a mental aspect than anything. But I think like with the pressure of Division 3 this year, we were expected to win all the games, and to be fair, we did, but there will be bigger tests ahead. Like,
Yeah, you got a great goal in that game. Do you think maybe looking back that you took a few more steps than you should have, or you always with the thing that you took your 4 steps and hit it then?
yeah, people have said to me I've taken a bit more than the 4 allowed
Yeah.
steps, but I came back with my steps were smaller than everyone else's. So no, it was definitely steps. It was. He should have blown it, to be fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good finish. It was a good finish.
I was, yeah. But like, would you look back on that one as say we should have probably got over the line because Mayo took the lead by 5 or 6, and he got it back, and then I think Luke Connolly got it to extra time. Like, would it be one that he might have just left behind?
Yeah, it's one like that just bites away. Like there's moments where we could have just like tapped over and went 1 point up. I think we never really like kicked on. I think we went 2 points. We were 2 points up in extra time, and I think we used all our subs and everything, and we were just like I think we were just shattered.
Yeah.
But it was one that like I reckon if we won that, it would have like kicked us off. Like it would have gave us confidence to like realize that we can compete with the best teams in Ireland, and like the Mayo have been the second best team for the past 10, 15 years. Like,
Yeah, like obviously the population of Cork is big, but would you think you're at a disadvantage with the hurlers being such a big part of the county as well?
um, possibly like the likes of Shane Kingston, Alan Cadigan, like they're from my local club as well, and they're top. They could be intercounty footballers, and they're
Yeah.
obviously a big loss to us. But I think when you just have players who have a sole focus of Cork football rather than Cork hurling, I think once you get those people in the same room together, which I feel like we have, it could lead to something special, and I think we're on the road to that.
Yeah, and obviously you got called into the international rules squad then to go to Australia. How did that all come about?
I remember it was Darragh O'Shea rang me and asking would I come up for just a few training sessions. He's like, it's just training sessions. There's nothing guaranteed. And I was like, Jesus, okay. And I remember the first training session I went up, I was marking Conor McManus. He's got about 1-8 off me. And I was like, I'm not coming back here.
Yeah.
And we went. It was training I think it was Wednesday, Friday, and it was just we did that for 5 or 6 weeks, and then they made the initial announcement of the team, and I didn't make the original squad. But then Paul Kerrigan won I think Paul Kerrigan went to the Munster final with Nemo, and then I got called in his replacement. So it was kind of he lost out and I gained massively from
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, what was the whole experience like? I mean, it's great even playing in Ireland in Croke Park, but even flying over to Australia to play them. What was that all like?
Geez, it's insane over there. Like just the stadiums and like just the people, and like when you get to play with the likes of Aidan O'Shea, Michael
Yeah,
Murphy, like you just learn things that you'd never learn anywhere else. Like the way they kind of kick the ball, the way they like the balls in the air, what moves they do, that kind of
mm,
stuff. You never really see that in your own club or your own county. But like even like a half time of the international rules, you go into like a video analysis room. They go through clips, which is kind of very cool in itself. And they just show you areas where you need to work on. And I just thought that was quite cool to get a professional kind of feel to GA.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't have even expecting that like at a young age, maybe they would have hoping maybe down the line that would have happened, but to be thrown into that sort of setup must have been a great feeling as well.
It was kind of a confidence booster, kind of like realizing that I'm good enough to compete with these lads, and just realizing that your football ability is actually up with these
Mm,
lads, and it's kind of just comforting to know that. And when well, like I reckon playing with them has brought me on tenfold. You just like you'll never mark the likes of them. Like Conor
yeah.
McManus is the best footballer around, like, and you're never going to mark players like that again.
Yeah, what was playing like the actual game like between the rules and all that? Did it take a bit of time to get used to and to adapt?
Yeah, like for me personally, I'm kind of used to running the ball and like
Yeah,
sidestepping people and stuff. And for the first game, I remember I tried to sidestep some fella and he just cleaned me, and it was like, right, this is
yeah,
a
yeah,
different game. But I kind of got the hang of it toward the second game. But it is a different game, and it's just cool to like the way their movements kind of different to ours. They move like where the ball goes rather than the person moves. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Come into a cluster and then hit, and one goes, and it's just different like philosophies and different tactics, which is very cool.
Yeah, so as you said with the video analysis, would you have trained like a professional team that I know the GA is kind of nearly professional aspects, I know it's still amateur, but would you have trained like a professional team for that 2 or 3 weeks going over to Australia?
It would have been like just a normal inter-county training, really, like just a few drills, few tactical sessions, and then play a match at the end, try and get up to with the rules. But it was difficult because like players were still in club championship,
Yeah.
UCC under 21. It was hard to like make it as professional, but they made it as professional as they could.
Yeah, would you like to see it come back?
Yeah, I'd love to see it. It was supposed to be in Cork this year, I think.
Yeah,
So that would have been, if I made that, that would have been really special, just playing the park. But I think like people don't see. I know some pundits like Tomas Shea don't see the value in it, but like I feel like representing your county or country in GA is special in
yeah.
itself, and playing with the top players, top inter-county players is class. It's class.
Yeah, so like you had a great 2017 for yourself, and then 2018, I'm sure you're saying to yourself you're going to kick on here. You got an injury. Just tell me a bit about just where it came about.
So I was literally just back from Australia in November, and we played the first league game in January, and it was like the first game down the park, the new park,
Mm.
and we were playing Tipperary, and I was the second half, and I just went to kick a ball down the sideline and try and like went in for the 1-2, and I just kind of felt a kind of click in my hamstring, and I was like, okay, what's that? And I got up, tried to continue on, and I was like, okay, I can't, and then I went in then I got a scan the next day, and the scan came back saying I tore a tendon, which means 3 or 4 months injury or recovery, and it was kind of it was kind of a novel. I won't say novelty, but it was kind of a new experience because I never really got injured before that.
Yeah.
Was kind of excited just to get cracking on the rehab and stuff. But then, like I went back, I did it. I did the right one again. I went back, rehabbed it for 3 or 4 months, did the right one again. And then they were like, okay, there's something wrong here. So I went over to London to a surgeon and just to see should I get surgery or not. And he was like, you can go the rehab route one more time because the option of surgery will still be there if you do it again. So I did that. I did the rehab route. The right one was okay. Was perfect for a while. And then I played a club under 21 match and the left one went, and the left hamstring. And I think that was the most demoralizing one because you spent so much time rehabbing the right and just focusing on the right, and then you just get the sucker punch of the left one.
Well, yeah, that's it. Like one after the other. Like, how are you even feeling that you're just maybe getting back, hopefully within a few weeks, and then it happens again?
Yeah, it was kind of with the left one. It was the final one. It was kind of like, is this really worth it? I remember I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was like, I've done this for the past nearly 2 years now, and I'm still getting injured. Like, is GA really worth it? And it was kind of, I was considering like even packing it in. Like at that stage, it was getting to the point where like, is GA, is this everything? Like, but then I remember I was talking to Johnny Holland, the former rugby player. He was our sports nutritionist, and he was like, look, give it one more crack. If it goes, you'll never have regrets, but just give it one more crack. And to be fair, I gave it everything, and thankfully I'm here now, injury free.
Well, yeah, that's it. Was it just even that motivation to go again, and that's what kept you going in the end?
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of lost motivation because I didn't know if it was going to ever get right, or if I go back and then within 2 minutes it'll tear again. But yeah, I think like just someone saying there's a possibility it could still get right, so just why not give it a chance. So then once he said that, I went over to physios in London and who treated Olympic athletes, and they were all giving me like different things to work on, and I kind of spent the bones of 5 or 6 months just working on that and getting my body into the best shape possible, which I've hopefully stay in that shape now.
Yeah, were you even worried maybe coming out of an injury that you mightn't be the same as you were before that?
Yeah, exactly. Like for me, my game's based off kind of sprinting and kind of like just quick ball, and that's when you use your hamstring most is sprinting. So obviously I'd be more wary about mine, and like for the first few sessions I was nowhere near the pace I was hitting before my injury, but after 2 or 3 months I began to get close to that speed, and I kind of feel like I'm there now.
Yeah, I think I even heard Michael Owen. He pulled his hamstring when he was younger or something, and he's always nearly said that he never ran the same again. He wouldn't make that run. Would you have had that in your mind, or is that gone now?
It was there at the start. It was, to be fair. It was like I like you're not really focusing on your performance. You're just focusing on getting through sessions, getting through matches. You're like even if your man scores 3 or 4 points, you don't really care. Like you're just like, thankfully I'm done. I played a match. I'm done. But yeah, there was a fear element of when I returned that I'd never really reach what I played like before the injury, and if I saw a ball 60 yards down the pitch, there was like, should I go for it? Well, when before I'd always be like, just go for it. But now I kind of feel like that fear factor is gone. Because like with games and with matches, your kind of confidence builds in the hamstring and the rehab you've done.
Yeah, well, you got back to actually play for Cork last summer at the Super 8s. I know you lost the 3 games, but was it an experience that will probably stand to you going forward?
It was, because I think like there's a lot of young players on our team and young players, and they've in recent years, like for me personally, I was wondering, can we compete with the best? And it kind of that gave us kind of the belief that we can actually compete with the best. We're not that far off.
Yeah.
So I think like that we needed that kind of realization that we are with these lads. We're just missing some 2 or 3%, which is the hardest piece to get, to be fair.
Well, that's even it. I mean, yeah, it's like for 60 minutes against Dublin, we'll say that you were there or thereabouts. Even Tyrone, you were ahead, and
Yeah,
Roscommon, you lost by a goal. So I know you lost all three, but you probably look back and say, right, we can build on this.
exactly. Like we weren't for the league. We weren't where we wanted to be, and I think we kind of felt as players we need to change something, and we did. And I think like the fact that the dressing room now is like it's dressing rooms nowadays are player driven rather than like just the manager dictating everything. And I feel like we've the right players to kind of steer the ship in the right direction. But yeah, the performances against Dublin especially kind of like 5-time All Ireland in a row, All Ireland champions. They like when you're competing with them, you're gonna get belief that you can't compete with the other teams as well.
Yeah, do you think maybe even it's that one big win, maybe in a Super 8 or a Munster final, that might just help kickstart something for you?
Yeah, exactly. Like as I said before, the Mayo game, I reckon that will have been one of them if we got over Mayo.
Yeah.
So I think there will be a big win. I think they'll give like the young players confidence, that Cork can compete with the best and will be competing with the best for a while to come. Like with the young players coming in that won the under 20 All Ireland last year, they kind of believe that they should be competing with the best. So it's kind of
Yeah.
I reckon it's kind of a good kind of time for Cork football with the young teams winning and the kind of older players believing that we can compete again.
Yeah, well, this year you found yourselves in Division 3, but I'm sure the mindset was just get out of here as quickly as we can.
Yeah, exactly. It was literally take it game by game, because most of the teams in Division 3 kind of play a defensive brand of football.
Yeah.
So we kind of we knew going into all those games we'd be given a free man, so we kind of trained with the thought of a free man. So kind of gave us a platform to work on.
Yeah, would you see yourselves as, I mean, the aim being playing Division 1 football again, or get back to Division 2 and maybe consolidate towards the top of that first?
I think obviously for like Cork football should be in Division 1, like they
Yeah.
should be competing with the likes of Dublin and Mayo, Kerry. So I think saying anything less than that would be an underachievement for Cork. Um, but like it's difficult. It's difficult. Division 2 is the hardest division
Yeah.
to stay in and get out of. We know too well, and like even this year, it's insane. You don't know
Yeah.
who's like, but the bottom place could even win it. Like, so it's literally just it's all over the place. So you don't really know. But obviously for Cork and for me personally, I feel like Cork football should be in Division 1 and competing.
Yeah, and you're still in college, are you?
Yeah, I just finished my neuroscience degree. So next year I'm going on to study medicine in either UL or UCC.
Yeah, is that hard to balance at all with the football, or do you just set a schedule and follow that during the week?
Yeah, it was kind of easy enough when I got it. To be fair, when I got injured, because I had a lot of free
Yeah.
time, so I
Yeah.
could focus on other things. But when I got back, I would schedule like I'd sit down Sunday evening and plan out my whole week. So I'd know what I need to do study wise and what I need to do rehab and kind of prehab and gym wise before the week starts.
Yeah. Do you think even the demands on players nowadays are too much? Like, I know the intercounty is the highest, but even club players now, you have strength and conditioning coaches and all this. Like, do you think it's been going too far now?
Possibly if especially in the club, like I feel like players are kind of losing interest. They're kind of
Yeah.
not playing for the love of it anymore. They're playing like it just feels like they're playing to I don't know. It's they're playing to win. But I know, yeah, it's a difficult one. I just like I know like players, my friends now. Some of my friends aren't playing this year because it's too much, and like it's hard because they're class footballers. They love
Yeah.
football, but they just can't make the commitment to
Yeah.
3 or 4 nights of club football a week. So like that I think if the scheduling, like if they could schedule like 3 or 4 months of club only,
Yeah.
and then intercounty, so players can designate 3 or 4 months just to the club and then do whatever travel, whatever after. I think that would help the club scene especially.
Yeah, so just finish up with a few quick fire questions. What would be your favourite match that you played in?
My favourite match would have been probably the performance-wise. It would have been the Mayo 2017 game, and also when I won under 21 club championship in 2017, also with my club Douglas.
Kind of two into one. Who would be the toughest player to mark in the Cork panel, and who would have been the toughest opponent that you played on the field?
Toughest player to mark would probably be Brian Hurley, because he would kick the living daylights out of you when you're training with him, because he's so strong and he's just an animal. And the toughest player would definitely be Conor McManus, because he can, you don't know which way he's going to go, and he can kick points from the sideline. So he's the hardest player to mark I've ever marked anyway.
What do you think would be your greatest strength on the field?
My greatest strength would probably be off the shoulder running or tackling.
And then the last two, who would be the best player that you played with?
Best player. Probably best player I've played with would probably be Donnacha O'Connor. Just the way he kind of kicks the ball, it looks like it's effortless. And I remember, in that game against Mayo, he was 35, and I think he scored 7. He scored about 5 points from playing 2 frees. So at 37, if I'm still walking, I'd be happy.
Yeah, that's it. And I suppose last one, what would be the aim for the future?
The aim for the future would be, for me personally, would be to stay injury free. But Cork-wise, obviously, win in All Ireland. I think we have the ability and the potential to do it, but applying that potential now is the difficult part.
Yeah, well, Sean, thanks very much for coming on.
No hassle. Thanks a million.